So, we go back to your book. Constitutional provisions are necessary for the success of federalism, but these are not sufficient. If the federal experiment had succeeded in India, it is not merely because of the clearly laid out constitution provisions. The real succession of or the success of federalism in India can be attributed to the nature of democratic policies or the democratic politics in our country. This ensured that the spirit of federalism, respect for diversity, and desire for living together became a shared ideal in our country. Let us look at some of the major ways in which this linguistic states, which I just now explained to you. Then we have the language policy, state center state relationship. So I'll just read through it. The linguistic states, the creation of linguistic states was the final and the major test for democratic politics in our India. If you look at the political map of India when it began its journey as a democracy in 1947 and that of 2006, you will be surprised by the extent of the changes. Many old states have vanished and many new states have been created. Areas, boundaries and names of the states have been changed. 1947, the boundaries of the several old states of India were changed in order to create new states. This was done to ensure that people who spoke the same language lived in the same state. Some states were created not on the basis of language, but to recognize differences based on culture, ethnicity, or geography. These include states like Nagaland, Uttarakhand, and Jharkhand. When the demand for the formation of states on the basis of language was raised, some national leaders feared that it would lead to the disintegration of the country. The central government resisted linguistic states for some time, but the experience had shown that the formation of linguistic states has actually made the country more united. It has also made administration easier. Use Hindi, why not Bangla or Telugu? That's also quite a nice question. Language policy. A second test for Indian federation is the language policy. Our constitution did not give the status of national language to any one language. But Hindi is the mother tongue of only about 40% of Indians. Therefore, there were many safeguards to protect other languages beside Hindi. There are 21 languages recognized scheduled languages by the constitution. A candidate in the examination conducted for the central government positions may opt to take the examination in any of these languages. States too have their own official language. Much of the government work takes place in the official language of the concerned state. Okay. Unlike Sri Lanka, the leader of our country adopted a very cautious attitude in spreading the use of Hindi. According to the constitution, the use of English for official purposes was to stop in 1965. However, many non-Hindi speaking states demanded that the use of English continue. In Tamil Nadu, the movement took a violent form. The central government responded by agreeing to continue the use of English along with Hindi for official purposes. Many critics think that this solution favored the English-speaking elite. Promotion of Hindi continues to be official policy of the government of India. Promotion does not mean the central government can impose Hindi on states where people speak a different language. The flexibility shown by Indian political leaders helped our country avoid the kind of situation that Sri Lanka finds itself in today. Center-state relations. Language policy of Sri Lanka. If you have known, I don't know what you know about what is the language policy of Sri Lanka as far as Sinhala is the national language of Sri Lanka. Divide and rule policy by the British, they followed that and they got stuck with it. Now, they have that policy of that official language of 1987 or 1988 type, something which happened during that time, if I'm not mistaken. I read it somewhere. In something to do in 1978. The provisions thereof have been amended by the 13th and the 16th Amendment Constitution in 1987 and 88. The Sinhala and Tamil language are both official and national languages in Sri Lanka, while English is the link language. Apart from the statutory provisions for the implementation of the official languages, policy administrative provisions have been made for implementing the same. This has been changed now, but before it was only Sinhala. You cannot speak Tamil, Sri Lankan language. So, what happens in the center and state relations in India? Reconstructing the center-state relations is one way in which federalism has been strengthened in the practice. How the constitutional arrangements for sharing power work, in reality depends to a large extent on how the ruling parties and leaders follow these arrangements. For a long time, the same party ruled at the both center and in most of the states. For a long time. That is Congress. This meant that the state governments did not exercise their rights to autonomous federal units. As and when the ruling party at the state level was different, the parties that ruled at the center tried to undermine the power of the states. But this was a bad thing happening at that time. In those days, central government would often misuse the constitution to dismiss the state government that were controlled by rival parties. This undermined the spirit of federalism. A state was not able to grow properly. All this changed significantly in 1990. This period saw the rise of regional political parties in many states of the country. This was also the beginning of the era of coalition government. At the center, since no single party got a clear majority in the Lok Sabha, the major national parties had to enter into an alliance with many parties, including several regional parties, to form a government at the center. This led to a new culture of power sharing and respect the autonomy of state governments. This trend was Mili Juli Sarkar, which we said. Now, supported by major judgment of the Supreme Court that it made difficult for the central government to dismiss state governments in an arbitrary manner. Thus, federal power sharing is more effective today than it was in the early years after the constitution came into force. Many states have suffered. The linguistic diversity of India. How many languages do we have in India? The answer depends upon how one counts it. The latest information that we have is from the Census of India 1991. The census recorded more than 1500 distinct languages which people mentioned as their mother tongues. These languages were grouped together under some major languages. For example, languages like Bhojpuri, Magadhi, Bundelkhandi, Chhattisgarhi, Rajasthani, Bhili and many others were grouped together under Hindi. Even after this grouping, the census found 114 major languages. Of these, 22 languages are now included in the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution and are thereof called scheduled language. Others are called non-scheduled languages. In terms of languages, India is perhaps the most diverse country in the world. At a look in the enclosed table makes it clear that no one language is the mother tongue of the majority of our population. The largest language, Hindi, is the mother tongue of only 40% of Indians. If we add to that all those who knew Hindi as their second or third language, the total number was still less than 50% in 1991. As for English, only 0.2% Indians recorded it as their mother tongue. Another 11% knew it as a second or third language. This is the table. Now we come to the decentralization of India. What is decentralization? What do you understand by decentralization? Or what is a decentralization policy? What is decentralization? Transfer of authority from a center to the local. Suppose I have an authority to do something, I decentralize it, I give it to someone in the local place. Okay, you take, these are the powers I am giving you, you can do it. A fast food chain, food franchise chain, each franchise restaurant is in the chain is responsible for its own operation. Broadly speaking, companies start out as a centralized organization, then they progress towards decentralization as they mature. Brand name will be same, but you have to operate according to us. You have been given this, but you'll operate yourself. The rules are set. You follow those rules and operate it. It helps in redistributing decision making, authority and financial and management responsibilities among different levels of national government. Now there are some principles also set for this. What are the principles of decentralization? Simplicity, reputation, transparency, security and speed were derived from an analysis of several automotive industries use cases as manufacturers, distributors, repair centers and consumers. Okay, simple example I am just giving you. Okay, in a government, if we take it in that way, political decentralization signifies a reduction in the authority of national governments over policy making. It may occur reforms for administrative reasons, when government officials decide that certain responsibilities and decisions should be handled best at the regional or local level. That is decentralization. Transfer of authority, simply as that. We noted that the above federal governments have two or more tiers in the governments. We can do this in the next class. It will be easier, because we are done with this video in this class. I don't want to pull it through and just rattle your brains. We can do it much more easily. A little bit part of is left. I'll come back in the next video and do it. We'll finish it today.